Inês, tenho 27 anos e sou de nacionalidade portuguesa.
My name is João Mansos, I represent Portugal.
My name is Michellie Jones, and I started racing triathlons back in 1988, and I was born in Australia.
Hello, my name is Mora. I'm 16 years old, and I currently race for Sporting Clube de Portugal. Triathlon is quite unlike any sport out there. The sheer versatility and uniqueness the sport is, and the stories it creates throughout the process is rare. The sport is still quite novel in itself, as the beginnings of the modern day interpretation was introduced in 1975 in my hometown of San Diego, California. Although there have been disputes that the true beginning came from an early antique French sport from the 1800s, called les trois sports. This race soon gained popularity following the introduction in the 70s, and soon the sport grew to include over 5 million participants in races around the world yearly. Triathlon is a sport like no other, where you need to compete in 3 disciplines back to back: swim, bike, and run.
And it was just, I don't know, there was something about the challenge of swimming, biking, and running.
The challenge of competing in a race like this is appealing to many, and once you start, it almost becomes impossible to stop. Competing in 3 disciplines can make things unpredictable and exciting. For those who compete, this race requires mental toughness, and as my dad liked to say, ganas, a certain want or desire, a commitment and a passion. There are many people nowadays who are growing up with the sport. The sport is ever-changing due to its versatility and ability to adapt with the times as well as the demand. All over the world, athletes are starting to participate in races like these as means to gain more fitness, but also to experience something new and exciting. Triathlon is unifying, as those who participate can share in the feelings of training, competing, and finishing. The lives of those who participate in the sport become forever intertwined. They become tied to each other. And the stories that are being told through this sport is something truly spectacular.
I started on sporting in 2017, in the end of 2017.
I began triathlon at 6.5 years old.
Did my first triathlon in January 26, 1988, because it happens to be Australia Day.
Fiz a minha primeira internacionalização no último ano de junho.
For those who choose this sport, training is never ending, and on the days it feels difficult or impossible, giving up is not an option. It's just another challenge. There are no off days.
Portanto, eu nadava todos os dias às 6h30, ia para as aulas ou para o trabalho. Depois ali na minha hora de almoço corria, quando tinha 3 treinos por dia, corria e depois à tarde, pronto, se ainda tivesse bom tempo e no horário de verão ia para a estrada, pedalar. Se fosse de inverno fazia rolos, mas essencialmente nadava sempre de manhã e depois outro treino da parte da tarde, a não ser que tivesse 3 treinos por dia, juntava ali na minha hora de almoço.
At least I train 2 times per day. Most of the times it's 3 times per day if we count the gym session, and that will depend a lot. I think it's very important to have like swim every day or at least 6 times per week. Running, I like to run a lot, so I think it's important stuff also to be on our schedule. So I would say like it's maybe 5 times per week run, 6 times per week swim, and 4 to 5 times bike.
Currently, I train anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day, where I end up training for a total of like anywhere from 18 to 21 hours-ish a week. I usually swim 5 to 6 days a week, depending on the week. 5 to 6 times, and each practice is an hour and a half usually, and then I run about 4 days a week, and I cycle 3 or 4 days a week. This is also depending on the school schedule that I have and what I can do, what I can't do, and how I'm feeling that week. I also do strength about 3 times a week. Part of the beauty of this sport is that it is unpredictable. Sometimes things are out of our control. Sometimes things don't go the way we want them to. Mental blocks and injuries are something that can certainly slow us down, but they never truly stop us. Sometimes it requires a little reflection on your why, and sometimes it just takes time. Michellie Jones is someone who has experienced these challenges a lot throughout the course of her career. A silver medalist at the 2000 Sydney Olympics in triathlon, an ITU world champion, and an Ironman world champion. It hasn't always been easy though, and like many other athletes, she has faced setbacks and new challenges.
Me of when I didn't make the Olympics for the second time around, you know, it's you sort of do some soul searching, like, you know, what do I want to do? Is like, this was like a huge part of my goal. I definitely wanted to go back to the Olympics, and here I am having just won the test event in Athens and I don't get selected.
Yes.
And then, so, you know, sometimes, you know, life, and that's why triathlon is sort of like a life lesson, right? Because it's never easy. There's always obstacles in the road, and that's how life is.
Aquela parte do desafio de ter que me esperar, eu acho que é bom.
Inês Oliveira, who was one of the top athletes in the Portuguese race and cups, has also attained some very good results at the international level, has also experienced some setbacks and changes that greatly impacted her career.
Foi o ano passado, a minha primeira prova de qualificação para uma taça da Europa, ou seja, para 2 taças da Europa. E eu já estava a trabalhar e portanto, conciliar o trabalho com o triatlo não foi muito fácil. Precisei de uma gestão de tempo muito mais organizada, e estava com medo de não conseguir, porque muitas atletas não fazem só isto, estudam, é diferente de estar 8 horas no trabalho. E ter sido a segunda a nível geral, para mim foi mesmo muito bom, porque consegui a qualificação e fiquei mesmo muito feliz, porque estava a trabalhar, tinha reduzido um bocadinho a carga a nível de treino, mas até foi bom. Eu acho que foi muito bom e fiquei mesmo muito feliz, foi mesmo, eu consigo.
For many, triathlon is a way of overcoming adversity and challenges and proving that yes, you are strong enough, you are alive, and you can do it. Whether in the sport or in life, it teaches you and shapes you, especially when things go wrong. And in the wise words of Michellie Jones,
we'll always learn more when you're facing adversity.
Racing at a high level like these athletes is exciting and tactical. It's brutal and beautiful. At the starting line, there's only one person who will be the winner, but there are many who achieve personal victories. This race pushes you to the limit, and as you stand there on the starting line, your heart starts to beat faster.
Uns momentos antes da prova, fechar os olhos e pensar como é que eu quero que a prova corra. E mesmo quando estou a alinhar, quando estou na linha de partida, pensar em, ok, agora vou nadar, o que é que eu tenho que fazer para que a natação corra bem, fazer mais cadência, bater mais as pernas e tentar visualizar a prova também segmento a segmento.
The first 100 meters of a swim rate of the triathlon, of a swim, it's a full-out wrestling match beneath the water, or above the water sometimes, where you will get kicked, you will get scratched, you will get punched, you will get elbowed, you will get drowned. One time, for example, a girl like pulled down my tri-suit. It's intense out there, but that's kind of what's fun about it at the same time. I remember one time that my goggles actually broke beneath my cap. Luckily, that it was beneath my cap, so they stayed on my face, but because I got kicked right in the bridge of my nose, so my goggles snapped. It's just, even though it's painful, I would say, especially because those first 100 meters, it's an all-out sprint to the first buoy, so you're trying not to breathe. except when those moments when those girls, they push you underwater and make you not breathe.
Being in a bad spot in a swim can project your bike and then run. So yeah.
Every part of the race is important. The brutal swim, intense bike, and fate-deciding run. Together, along with the transitions, creates an adrenaline-filled race.
Adrenaline don't lose the pack or stay the most as you can on the bike. In the run is when you decide the race, so it's when you decide who's going to win or second place, third place, and all of that. So I really like the run.
Getting across the finish line and knowing it's over and that you did your best fills you with such an intense pride. Whether you got the result you wanted to or not, each race is different and special in its own way.
Finishing, there's nothing better than finishing.
The thing on triathlon that I like the most is that it's you never know what's going to happen. You can have a bad day on the swim and then get a good stuff or turn out to be a good stuff on the bike on in the run. So I like that on triathlon.
You know, being a triathlete, sometimes the swim is great, sometimes the bike is great, sometimes the run is great, sometimes all three are great, sometimes they're awful and you still do great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's awful and you do bad. But, you know, there's nothing better than running down that finishing straight.
Eu acho que acima de tudo é superação. É sentirmos que conseguimos, que vamos ao nosso limite. Quer em treinos, em provas. E depois era um bocadinho aquilo que eu estava a dizer. Nós treinamos tanto, nós damos tanto de nós a esta modalidade que depois ver todo o esforço recompensado eu acho que é a melhor coisa que nós podemos mesmo sentir.
One lesson that I learned that I try to tell everyone, if you can walk away from a race having learned something, then it's a victory.
Every story is different and deserves to be told. The unity and community created within this race by coaches, teammates, supporters, and competitors assures that even in this individual sport, you are never alone.
But I don't think that I'm going to end my career and my professional career, let's say like that, and not do triathlon at all. I do it because I like it. I think I will continue in the sport just because I like it. I like to train a lot and I like to race, so that's my guide, my motivation.
Like ultimately, it's just the fact that there's something about swim, bike and run that really is now a part of me. Like I'm a tri geek and I'm proud to call myself a tri geek, and triathlon has given me so much. It's sort of like, I often ask that, I go, when am I going to lose the passion and not want to do it? And touch wood, so far, I keep finding these new adventures.
As time passes, triathlon will only grow in popularity. And I hope to call this race mine for as long as I can.